On this first day of the week, August the 23rd. We almost there, y'all. Almost in September. This year is flying by. Give it a few seconds. I wanted to come back on and do the second part to this qualified income conversation. And want to sit out here in the sun, man. Let your eyeballs get that vitamin D. Nothing like what God has made, yeah, right? And so um, I'll give it a few seconds, but that is the purpose of this video. So if you're not interested in qualified income for non-traditional buyers, be it primary buyers or investors, you might want to move on because I don't want to waste your time. Hey, Doc, how you doing? Dr. Financial Literacy in the building. So let's get into it. What I want to do, yeah, God is good all the time, brother, is put up this disclaimer. We want to start disclaiming things, right? Because we know that there's always somebody out here that's looking to be a victim. So we don't want any victims out here. So I'll read this. It says the information provided in this video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. All examples of payments, income, interest rates, or loan terms are hypothetical and for illustrative. I partner with Novus Mortgage, a division of Ixonia Bank, NMLS number 423065. Because we actually do this, right? We actually do loans. We're not just talking about it on the internet. So, non-traditional qualified loan is the title of the video. And so first and foremost, most of you guys that might be watching, if you have non-traditional income, you're gonna be at 1099. I know that's backwards, so I won't do that anymore. It's mirrored. But 1099 income is gonna cover a majority of you guys because a lot of you all are in business for self or non-employed or employee compensation and NEC, 1099 NEC is what you'll get. And so the short answer is yes, you can use 1099 to purchase a home, okay? Now the benefit for a lot of you guys for using 1099s is that most business owners are gonna take the opportunity to write off a majority, if not all, income that you can, so that your tax exposure is very little or none. And so that puts you in a pickle when you look to purchase residential real estate because technically you don't have any income because the definition of that income would be what you pay taxes on, your taxable income. So these non-traditional options have been very popular over the last 5 or 6 years. They're called non-QM, non-qualified mortgages. 1099 income is one. Bank statements are another non-qualified income source that a lot of people use. And you don't have to be a business owner to use bank statements, by the way. You can use personal and or business bank statements. But here is the kicker, the key when using 1099 and or bank statements. Depending on, and I'll come back and deal with comments after I make this statement, but excuse me, depending on the investor, the loan officer that you deal with, the investor that they sell your loan to, depending on who that investor is, a majority of them are going to want what's called a 4506C. Okay, and that's just a document that you are saying, you know what, this investor and or the servicer down the line could potentially go back and pull my tax transcripts. So I said all that to say this. These loans are not for you to commit fraud, okay? They're not. They're designed for true business owners or people using bank statements that can't traditionally validate their income because they've wrote it all off, right? So that's very important before we go too far down the road. Here, let me see if we got any comments. Um, let's see here. Good. It's backwards. I got it. I put my disclaimer. Okay, that's Doc. Okay. It says place a seal in front. Okay. Okay. Anywho, I'll keep going. And so if you guys have any questions as we go forward, feel free to leave them in the comment section. If you're a part of my community or on my channel, you know I will come back and address questions and potentially do lives like this if there is enough interest in the audience. So, as I was saying, you do not want to use this as a means to get yourself in the trick bag. Because if you sign a 4506C, anybody in that line, what line? Your lender. If your lender is the one that's actually servicing your loan, meaning they're collecting those payments, then they could come back at any time, right? And pull a transcript history to see if what you stated was accurate. So there are some investors that do not require a 4506C. So that's something that you want to understand if you're someone that has non-traditional income so that you can get into the property that you're looking to get into. Now, this is a perfect segue because some of you might be wondering, well, what types of buyers can use these options? Well, you can use this option to buy your personal property. And in my experience, it's just single family owner occupied, okay? Single family owner occupied. I don't have anybody doing duplexes or triplexes in this arena. There might be some out there, but I'm not doing them. So if you're looking to buy a single family residence, okay, and say you're a truck driver or you have some type of small business that you receive 1099s, right? And you wrote off all your income legally, this is a great option to buy your primary residence. A lot of investors use these types of loans as well, okay? I just mentioned the 4506C that you would have to sign. You want to make sure you understand that because an investor could come down the line buying a portfolio of loans, your loan is there, and they could say, hey, this person, their tax transcript does not match what was what was stated. Hold on, I got a comment I think here. Let's see here. It says, no, let me put on the, it says one of my jobs is as a traveling nurse. Okay, that's an excellent example. Deal with traveling nurses all the time. One of my jobs as a traveling nurse out of state, in addition to a job in the state I want to purchase. Can you speak to this? I can. I want you to give me a little more context, but if you're a traveling nurse, I'm assuming you're working for an agency. If that's correct, let me know. And there's different ways to handle that. If you're working for an agency that places you on different jobs, well, you may be able to go traditional if you've had 2 years working with that agency, and when your lender reaches out, that agency, it says I work for a hospital, not an agency. Okay, so how about the travel nurse aspect? Not the W-2, but the travel nursing. How are you paid there, if you don't mind? Do you work for an agency, or does each assignment pay you separately and give you a 1099? I'll wait on that, but I'll keep in this vein because there's a lot of traveling nurses that do work for one company as a 1099 NEC, and that company places them on different assignments. Well, if that's the case, as I was saying, and you've been there long enough, 15 years on the job, I'm per diem, I work directly for the hospital and get a W-2. Well, then if you work for the hospital and get a W-2, then your income, you can qualify traditionally. just going to take that W-2, your W-2 income, going to validate where you've worked over the last 2 years. I don't know if you worked with the same place. Sounds like you have, and you should be good to go. It's a regular loan qualification scenario in your case. Yes, ma'am, or sir. So hopefully that asks the question. If you like some insight from myself, again, we originate in all 50 states. You can hit the link in the description, either schedule a consultation or start the application process. We'd love to work with you. So, but just for the video sake, for those that might be in your same position or a little different, back to the 1099 and that nurse that's working in that situation, as long as that agency states that you are employed and there's no end or contract date, or depending on when the contract date ends, you might be able to go the traditional route, or if you have the 1099s, again, and that's the only form of income you have, that's really the scope of this video. And as I stated, they're gonna take that 1099, we're gonna take that 1099 either for the first year or 2-year average. We're gonna also get your bank statements, and that's where I wanted to go. Bank statements are the key, because it's if you think about it, guys, it's not magic that's being done. Your bank statements really tell the story. I'd rather underwrite you from your bank statements than from a W-2 any day, because we could see your DNA, how the money's actually coming in. So they take those bank statements with your 1099s, assess a expense factor, and then those are the monies that will be used to determine your income for qualification purposes, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, it's about to get warm out here, but you know, it's all good. Sweating's good for you. And you can't get that vitamin D nowhere other than the sun. You feel me? So thank you for the question as far as the nurse is concerned. And now, as we move forward, we address 1099. Let me scoot over just a little bit. We address the 1099. How about the bank statements? Bank statements are another great option in which you can utilize, or we as lenders can determine an income for you based upon deposits that qualify, okay? Not all deposits qualify. So the thing that I want you all to take away from this video, if you're thinking about using that type of documentation to qualify, you gotta have clean statements. It's akin to things that you may have seen online talking about not commingling funds. But if you're more than 60 days out from looking to buy a home, you have an opportunity to clean this up and make your life easy. And so the best case scenario is this: money comes into either your operating account, right, which hopefully is your business account if you have business. It comes in there and you're not transacting your daily life out of that account. But the money comes in, if you have a certain expense or distribution that you take from the business account and put into your personal account, that's the best way to do things. And you won't cause yourself all of this heartache when it comes time to go through the process, and you're not complaining, right? Excuse me. And so clean statements are a thing. And the cleaner they are, the easier it is to determine how much money we can actually derive for you to qualify for your debt to income ratios, okay? Where we take all of your minimum monthly payments, the proposed house payment, taxes and insurance, and divide that into whatever that number is that we are able to calculate from your deposits. So keep your statements clean. And with the 1099 and the bank statements, you don't have to have filed your tax returns, but you're gonna sign a 4506C. So just hear what I'm saying there, okay? We don't want anybody to get themselves jammed up. Now, as we move forward, there are other types of non-traditional income that a lot of people might not actually have access to, but let's speak about them. So if you're blessed to have a lump sum of money, okay, I've had several clients that have, millions of dollars somewhere, and they might be living off of the interest of that money, so on and so forth. They don't have an income. Well, there's ways to take a chunk of money, a lump of money, and determine a monthly income, all right? And as long as that monthly income, as long as the dollar amount that's determined won't deplete whatever that large sum of money is within a 36-month period of time, well, then you're good to go. So asset depletion, okay, is another way. Let me see here. Let me throw on the specs. It says, would it be simpler if, hold on, I'm on this phone, guys, so work with me. I apologize here. So let's scroll up. It said, would it be simpler if you didn't write anything off or only a little while looking to buy a house, since writing everything off is causing the friction? Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. But here's the deal. Yes to your question, but here's the deal. A lot of folks that I'm running into that are business owners, you guys haven't filed your tax returns in a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that that's breaking the law or anything of that nature, but because of that, a lot of people don't realize, well, how much money do I need to pay taxes on to be able to um, consummate this deal, right? To buy this piece of property. So by all means, if you're in the planning stage, that's excellent. You want to get with your lender. You want to apply, submit all your documentation, because hopefully this is not your situation. But another thing that I'm finding is a lot of business owners, so on and so forth, have credit challenges. So this is why you want to apply up front with the lender that you know, like, and trust, because you need to stick with somebody and work with them, right? But then from there, they're able to work with you and or your accountant, bookkeeper, whoever handles your money if you're doing it yourself. And then you can say, you know what, based upon this, based upon a real payment with the real taxes and insurance, not one that you've seen online or one that people hope it would be, then you could determine how much you need to pay taxes on as you strategize. I love it. As I say all the time on the channel, that is a wealth behavior, being proactive, planning, and not necessarily reactive. So again, guys, if I go a little longer, I'm doing so to answer other people that might be coming behind you as far as a question is concerned. So hopefully that clarified that for you, Shay 2034. Also, you says if you have a small business, the money gets deposited to the business account, no personal. So how does that work? Again, as I stated, clean accounts. Here's the deal. I'm running 123 hat service. Okay. My money comes into the 123 hat service business account, and I'm paying all of the business expenses or whatnot from that account. Makes sense. If I pay myself, okay, I have a clean, delineated, logical withdrawal, right? That's a distribution that I'm taking from the business once a month, twice a month, whatever. What I'm seeing is all of the money's coming into one account, and you're paying a light bill, water bill, groceries, all of that. That's where they get muddy. And it causes you not to potentially get the most income you can get if you're going with a bank statement type program. So again, if you're running a company, have the money come into one account. The bills and things that are being paid out of that account are only associated with what it takes to run your business. The money that you pay yourself from that, you have either once a month, once a week, twice a month, however you get paid, you take it from there and put it in your account where you buy your groceries and pay your car notes and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully that makes sense. If it does, Shay, 2034, give me a heads up. Give me a heads up. And so while I'm waiting on that, we talked about 1099s, we talked about bank statements. I believe I mentioned asset utilization or asset depletion for those that have a large sum of money. Yeah, so those are the non-traditional, the most common non-traditional ways that people go about purchasing homes for the primary residence and for investment purposes. Now, as I shift gears, here's another thing that you have to understand that a lot of people that inquire about this don't. Okay, hold on. Let's stop here for a minute. Shay says, I'm getting confused. Sorry. When you say transfer money from business operations account into my personal account, are you talking about the owner's draw? Yes. Talking about your owner's draw, your pay, your income, the owner's draw, owner's distribution, all the same. The money that you're paying yourself, monthly, weekly, whatever that interval is, you take it from the business account and put it in your purse or another account where you pay your light bill, your water bill, groceries, whatever you're doing on a daily basis, because it's not associated with the business account. So the answer to that is yes. Income comes into the business. The only bills or things that are paid from that account are the things that deal with you running your business. If you're buying inventory, if you have certain subscriptions and services that you pay for in the business, those are the things that come out of the business. And then when you pay yourself, owner's draw, owner's distribution, payroll, however you define it, you take that money from the business and you put it in another account. And then from that other account or accounts, you live your daily life. Does that make sense, Shay? Give me a thumbs up if I've cleared that up. Okay? Because I want to make sure that that's abundantly clear, because that is one of the issues that I see when folks want to go this route and you're not able to maximize the amount of income that you could use to qualify, because you're running your personal life out of the business account. Okay, so if we're gonna run business, we got to make sure we're doing it. You just separate those things. All right. While I'm waiting on confirmation, if that makes sense, and you guys, you never have to be sorry about asking questions. That's what I'm here for. And so I just want to make sure that don't let the inflection in my voice. I'm not annoyed or anything of that nature. That's just how I communicate. Okay, I'm passionate. So as we move forward and waiting on that clarification from Shay 2034, what I'm saying is this: you have to understand that the interest rates, okay, and the amount of money you have to have for these options are not going to be traditional. And so a lot of people that come that really don't understand what these types of loans offer. They offer they offer a way to get around you not paying taxes on those things. Well, if you can't traditionally verify the income, well, the cost is going to come somewhere. And these investors, these lenders are in business to make money, right? I'm in the money selling business, okay? And the less you divulge, the riskier you are. Just the name of the game. And the risk is always priced higher. And so what do I mean by that? Loan to value, LTV. Your loan to values on these types of loans are going to be anywhere from 90%, best case scenario, that's for owner occupied with everything in place, to 80%. Stated differently, you're going to have to be able to put 10 to 20% down depending on the program and your individual profile, plus your closing costs. Okay? And the interest rate is going to be higher. Well, well, if you don't if you don't want to take the money, then you have to, as one of the comments was earlier, you need to file your taxes, okay, and make things easier. Pay them people, the IR and the S, and then you would have access to FHA, conventional, right? Maybe USDA loans. Let me pause 1 second. She says, yes, thank you. You're welcome, Shay 2034. You're the reason I'm doing this follow-up. That was an excellent suggestion. So thank you for making that suggestion. But she says, Thank you. Again, you're welcome. I'm in the planning phase, so this makes a lot of sense to me, and my business is new. So I love that you agree with my thinking thus far. Now I know you're my guy. I appreciate that. Appreciate the vote of confidence. But does that make sense, guys? Ladies and gentlemen, does that make sense? You can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you want the traditional, more the lower interest rates and the higher loan to values, aka smaller down payments, well, you got to be able to validate and verify your income. And so what I find is, and Shay, I'm going to use you as an example. New business owners are not as savvy, no disrespect, and don't understand that concept. And so you have to, one of the things you have to understand as a business owner and understanding money is this. Hey, if I'm not willing, if I don't have to pay the IRS X amount of dollars, well then over here when I'm getting this transaction, right? And the interest rate is higher, I have to be able to make it make sense. So you have to get out of the mindset of a consumer or an employee and understand business, because that's just what it is. Now, I will say this, in the market where we are today, if you're well qualified, what's well qualified? Especially for a lot of you guys that are planning on buying, got to get your credit together. Okay, you guys as business owners, respectfully, these programs start about a 640 as a middle credit score. You know, when we pull the TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, we're gonna throw out the high and throw out the low. 640 is get you in the game, but that's expensive money. So if you're a business owner and you're planning on buying, one of the things that you have to do in your plan is the scores need to be up. The people that get the best terms with these types of deals, 760 credit scores and up. Okay, it's just what it is. I'm not trying to make you feel bad or anything. I'm giving you something to aim for, especially those of you that are planning. All right, and so got a plan to succeed. So figure out what it is with your credit, right, and then you can be very successful in getting the best terms that you can at whatever time it is you are ready to transact. Because interest rates, if you did not know, move daily. They're not dictated by the Fed funds rate that a lot of people think that they are, dictated by all this stuff that's going on all around the world. And here lately, the 10-year treasury, right, is a great canary in the coal mine. Anytime the T-bill, that 10-year, is trading above 4%, interest rates are going to be higher for everything. But it's not a lockstep. It's just a guide. Okay, you got to get with somebody that you know, like, and trust. Hold on, I saw another comment. I love changing the mindset from a consumer to a business owner. Yeah, Doc, you say it all the time, Dr. Financial Literacy. I read your comments, and you always do a great job of encouraging the community and testifying, if you will, of where you come from to where you are now. And I think you'll agree that that change, right, that paradigm shift starts up here. And you have to start understanding from a different lens to really take it to the next level. Same thing that's happened to me as well over time. Dr. Financial Literacy says, what FICO model what FICO model should we look at in preparing to get business funding as 1099? I see multiple models. Okay, Doc, that's two different questions. Again, I'm not here talking about business funding. So if you want to find out about business funding, I would admonish you guys to go to somebody that's qualified to do that. Now, with that disclaimer out there, what I'll tell you is this. I have multiple businesses, okay? And I have never had a difficult time, right? As an example, just as an example, I'm gonna start up a new little side hustle to try to check it out, right? Because everybody's out here talking about the sky's falling. And so on my property, I have privacy fence. You might see a little bit of it right here in the corner. But I went and bought me a commercial sprayer, right? Because I'm like, you know what? I'm not paying nobody $3,000 to paint my fence again. You see what I'm saying? Just because you can don't mean that you should. So I'm like, you know, let me get back out here because you got to practice what you preach, especially when you're talking to young folks. So anyway, said all that to say, I went to Sherwin-Williams, and this is a hack for some of you guys that don't know. Paint and furniture are two of the highest marked up things that is being sold to you. And you can go to Sherwin-Williams and open up a business account and get a 40, 50, 60, 70% discount off the top. You're welcome. Okay. So in that process, the guy was like, do you want to open up a business account? And I was like, yeah. And so this is the answer to your question, Doc. They gave me a $25,000 line of credit for a business. You see? And so I say all that to say this: mind your personal credit, okay? And your business credit will be stellar, because this narrative that's around credit, and this is lockstep with what we're talking about today. Again, a lot of the so-called business owners that I see, especially small business owners, have to make that mental shift that you spoke about. And the credit is challenged. I'm seeing a lot of challenged credit. Well, why? Because cash flows probably they're not consistent. And during these times, gas and stuff is up. I'm thinking about truck drivers, because I just dealt with a couple here recently. But that's a hit to the profit margin, man. Gas go up 50 cents, a dollar. Your income can fluctuate big time. And so because of this, I'm seeing a lot of late payments, so on and so forth. So the whole business funding and business credit thing is like this, man. You're always going to get the best credit when you don't need it. When don't you need it? When you are able to show over time, and that can't be hacked, that you pay on time, all the time, every time. But more importantly, you don't utilize the credit at its maximum. So that's the beauty of the business credit, right? Because it doesn't really show on your personal credit until you mess up, right? Or until the time that you get a business credit score where you don't have to have a personal guarantee. But again, want to just change that narrative and get back. If you want business credit, you got to go somewhere else. But I would say the better your personal credit is, because most of you guys are going to give a personal credit guarantee, you're going to get great business funding. So again, want to try to go a little deeper than what your questions are, because other folks are watching. So what do you guys think? What do you think, guys, about what I've said on this live and the prior live, right? The qualified income for traditional financing when it comes to residential or commercial real estate, opposed to non-traditional qualified income that we just talked about today. Do you like the topic? Do you think it's beneficial? Give me a thumbs up, or you can put a number 7 in the comment section. I would appreciate it. And then lastly, what topic should I cover next? And should I do it in a live format like this? I'll wait to see if I get any suggestions or interactions. And I don't want to hit you with a lot of stuff, but if you like the live, do you think I should schedule them to give you guys a heads up? Because just trying something new before I get out here in my yard and start doing my thing. You feel me? Okay, Dr. Financial Literacy, thank you, sir. He said superior advice, worth paying thousands for. Okay, I feel you. But we doing free 99 over here, right? Worth paying thousands for where others are charging. Yeah, they got a lot of folks out here charging, man. But you know what, Doc? A lot of people, the scriptures say people have itching ears to reference the scriptures, to paraphrase. So you got a lot of people that like to hear what they like to hear. And like everything in life, people don't like to hear the truth because it's really not sexy, man. It's about showing up, being consistent, and doing the things that we don't want to do. So I appreciate the compliment. But let me know, Doc, do you like this format? live? And do you think I should do more? And if so, should I schedule them opposed to just popping up? Because I think as I see the landscape going forward, it seems like live is better. But I got to schedule it, man, because I'm really in business. I'm not playing business on the internet. This is what we do over here. Why? And also too, while I'm waiting to get some feedback from you guys, let me encourage you on something. As I'm speaking about real life in business, yesterday, at Bible study, get a call from a tenant. They got water running, woo, 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 this, that, and the third, okay? And so it was a plumbing issue, and so it's on a Saturday, Sabbath, right? You can't, folks aren't out. So automatically, the quotes that you're going to get are going to be through the roof because these folks figure, hey, I got you. So anyway, I got one or two of the companies to come out, and the quote is anywhere between $8,000 and $10,000. Okay. Let me pause real quick. Doc said schedule them. I was headed to church, but let me see what Robert is saying. I'm gonna be late for service. I feel you, man. I feel you. So I'll start scheduling them. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate you, Doc. So go on to church, man. This is on the replay, bruh. You can get it later, man. But I appreciate the support. But anyway, back to the situation with the tenant, right? So here's the deal. A lot of you guys think you want to do a lot of things, but keep it in theme with a lot of you guys going to church today, right? The scriptures tell you this: consider the full matter. So what that means to me is this: before I become a homeowner or a business owner and want to use these types of things, am I really a business owner? Do I understand what that means, right? Have I considered the full matter? Because see, when you get calls like I got, for a lot of you that think you want to be investors because you watch a YouTube video and you have these folks on here lying to you about what it really is, okay? And then you get into something and then you feel like you got hoodwinked. Well, you first of all, you have to do your due diligence on the people that you're listening to. How do you do that? You watch them over time. I challenge you guys all the time. I think my oldest video on this channel is 2019 or so. Go back to 2019. Same Rob. I ain't got no makeup on. I ain't flashing no Rolexes. And ain't nothing wrong with none of those things if that's what you do. What I'm saying is over here, it's the same. The same fruit. So you judge a fruit by the tree. You judge a tree by the fruit that it bears, right? And so anyway, I get the call. I already know these folks gonna try to tax me. And this is for a lot of the ladies that I have that watch the channel, single ladies. There's a lesson in this story that I'm telling you, and it's about being prepared. Because fear, let's go back to the scriptures, right? Yeah, God hasn't given you a spirit of fear, but one of power, love, and a sound mind, a disciplined mind. 1 Timothy 1:7, right? One of my favorite scriptures that I have to even repeat to myself. And so, yeah, I'm gonna get to you in a minute, Doc. So 8,000 to 10,000, right? But because I've considered the full matter, right? And in times past, where we've gone through squatters living off of us for a year and being reactive and not understanding what it means to be a landlord, an investor, learn from those things. So said all that to say this: I have my own roster of folks, right? So I sent it to my guy and he was like, oh yeah, we could get it done. It ain't gonna be nowhere near $8,000. But see, most of us would have gone with that out of fear, lack of preparation, but more importantly, not understanding the full matter. So I just want to say that to you. Hopefully you could pick up some nuggets there. Doc said, Dr. Financial Literacy said, I had a plumber come out to one of his Georgia properties for changing out stuff inside a toilet. $420 for 20 minutes worth of work, right? And it said in California, they said they could do the work for about 150, 175. So again, people nowadays, everybody is unfortunately, everybody's not honest, right? Now, the lady that's in this property, check this out. We're going to keep with the scriptures. The lady that's in this property, her husband just lost his life. So I'm dealing with a widow. So all money ain't good money, guys. Understand what it is that you're doing. And my thing is, when you do the right thing, you always win. It doesn't seem like it in the beginning, but in the end, you win. Shay, 2034, thank you. She says both parts, one traditional, part two non-traditional, were extremely helpful. Please keep them up so I can save and reference. I couldn't find part one. You know what? I changed the thumbnail on part one, but it's on there, Shay. What I'll do later today, I'll send you the link to that because I didn't mean to move it on you, but it's on the channel. It's in the live section. If you subscribe to the channel, go to the live videos, and it should be the one right underneath this one because I'm gonna change the thumbnail on this one too. But thank you for the feedback. Shay, 2034. Do you agree with Dr. Financial Literacy on about scheduling the time? If you do, let me know real quick before we get ready to shut this thing down. But yeah, Doc, I agree, man. You know, folks will take advantage of you. That's what I was saying before I digress. Folks will take advantage of you. But those of you that are fearful about owning, if that's what you really want to do, okay? If that's what you really want to do, you got to prepare yourself. And preparation, not saying you could prepare for everything, right? But the more prepared you are, the less nervous you are about moving forward. And Shay 2034 says, and yes, the lives are great, but the information would be helpful so many if you make them available later. Again, yeah, I hear you, Shay. They're available. They're available. So not all lives are available, though. You're right. You got to be a member. So there's a paid membership, guys. This one I'm gonna leave you with before we leave. Time is our most valuable asset, and I've heard a lot of you guys say, you know, this is great information, and I appreciate it. I really do. But you know what? I got to feed my family too. I really do. Because I've also seen a lot of you guys say, you know what, I watched your videos and I went through my purchasing process and it was exceptional. Thank you very much. And I'm happy for you. I really am. But I do some things for the folks that are members, subscribers, because, you know, Rob got to, I got to feed the chickens. So if you feel so inclined, you can leave a tip sometimes, or you can subscribe to the channel because some of that stuff is members only. You know what they say? Membership has its privileges. And with that, I'm gonna get out of here because I got stuff to do, right? So check it out. You guys be good to one another. Let grace abound. But most importantly, y'all stay blessed. Indeed. All right, Rob, get out of here. Here we go. Bam.